June 28th. I am sorry I've missed the past 2 days. I've been recovering from an amazing weekend in Washington, D.C. for the National Celebrate Life Day rally and gala. I hope you saw some of the footage and the coverage. It was everywhere. It was even on C-SPAN, a little personal goal accomplished, won't brag, but it was an amazing weekend. But I'm back, and I've got a ton of news to share with you tonight, so buckle up. Just when you thought Planned Parenthood couldn't get any more deprived or worse or should be further away from your children than you thought before, check out what happened in Saskatchewan. So in Canada, the local Planned Parenthood, who's been allowed in the public schools, in the public high school, was actually going to schools and they passed out by accident, this is what they claimed, this ABC sex cards guide. And they said it wasn't part of their presentation. It accidentally was printed and passed out to all the students. And accidentally, we only found out about when parents accidentally saw what their kids brought home for school this day. I mean, I've seen some terrible things that Planned Parenthood has put out in the last 17 plus years of serving in the pro life movement full time with Students for Life. But this one takes the cake. So it's ABCs, right? So it goes into things like F stands for fletching. I don't even know if I'm saying that word right. The act of sucking semen from your partner's butt. If semen don't taste good enough already, nothing says, what's it say? Oh my gosh, nothing says loving like semen fresh from the oven. If you're going to chow down some ass marinated semen, just know that you and your partner are at higher risk for HIV and STIs. Okay. P for pearl necklace. That's another one. A for autofellatio. It's when you suck your own penis. Didn't even know that was possible. I have to laugh because it's so horrendous. I actually had to film this when my kids left our house because I don't want my kids. They usually hear me filming, and I was terrified for them to hear this. And I have a ninth grader. H is for half and half. When someone sucks your dick and then your ass, it's nice to split the attention 50-50. Yellow. So Y is for yellow and brown showers. Yes, pissing and crapping on your partner. I mean, like, I don't even go into all the details. I'm just reading you the highlights here of what this school did. And what's interesting is the education minister came out and said, well, there's only a week left in school. We're going to suspend Planned Parenthood from coming back. But we're not going to suspend them forever. It's just temporary. But this is what they passed out to children. Children. I have a son who's old enough to be in ninth grade. Thankfully, he's homeschooled, so we don't have to worry about this. But oh my gosh. Just when you think they can't get any more deprived. Look, even the picture my staff chose is like the XX one. It doesn't even tell you about the worst ones. Planned Parenthood is after your children, guys. We've said this, and we're going to continue to say this again. They need to be completely defunded from our taxpayer dollars. You know, they start early. I mean, in December, there was a news article, one of the Planned Parenthood directors saying, kindergarteners are sexual beings, and talked about how sexuality is important to talk to kindergartners about. They want to get to your kids as early as possible. They want them having sex as early as possible because they know the sooner they have sex, the more times they're going to visit them. They are, I would say, one of the leading contributors to the high STD epidemic, that what the CDC actually is labeled as an STD epidemic in our country. They only treat 18% of STDs they diagnose. They know the sooner you have sex, the more likely you're going to wind up pregnant, because we all know, for example, condoms have only an 18% annual. They have an 18% annual failure rate. Birth control pills have a 9% annual failure rate. Then now, because abortion has been decreasing in some states, they've actually increased their game when it comes to wrong sex hormone distribution. So now kids can go to Planned Parenthood, kill their babies, or without any parental consent be put on wrong sex hormones that can sterilize them. I mean, Planned Parenthood is after our kids. And I don't understand why more people aren't pissed off than this. All right. So Maine is one vote away now from the approval of a bill that's going to allow abortions in all 9 months. Now, everybody else in the country is limiting abortions, and abortions on decline. Apparently, word hasn't spread to Maine yet because they're doing the exact opposite. We've been engaged at Students for Life Action contacting citizens in Maine to go out. And there was like, it was a historic amount of citizens. Over 600 actually showed up to testify against this extremist bill. We've been contacting legislators. Sadly, the governor is like all in. This is like her legacy, apparently, of killing babies up until the moment of birth. So I don't think we're going to win this one this time, but be on the lookout for that. When next time someone tells you that no one's voting in favor of abortion up until the moment of birth, remind them about me. Okay. All right. Another story I saw today that we were kind of keeping abreast, but it's kind of come to a head. So, Christopher Newport University has a very active Students for Life group. I actually visited there this spring. That was a school that did a safe space next door where they played the Spice Girls and had coloring books while I was speaking because I was too triggering to go on campus. And then when I walked into the safe space, no one knew what to do because I had violated their safe space. We still have to make that video. It was hilarious. But anyway, serious situation. So one of the president of the chapter, our chapter there, she actually had to come forward because there was a student who was stalking her and actually broke into her dorm room. It escalated very quickly. The student actually had to appear in court last week on a misdemeanor for stalking. And so it's a scary situation. Always remind, something I always remind our students for is you have to stand up for your First Amendment rights. You have to stand up for your safety. And as soon as you feel unsafe, as soon as you feel like your rights are being attacked, you need to contact Students for Life as soon as possible. Our general counsel, our full-time legal team will come to your aid. All right. This is interesting because remember I just talked about how Maine is like going all in on abortion. Well, 2024 is coming up. People are getting a little nervous. So you had some statements that have been said, like recently, like this weekend, Amy Klobuchar, the pro-abortion U.S. Senator from Minnesota, who attempted to run for president last time and didn't go very far, but was actually trying to sound like a moderate. She's not, but she at least got the memo that people don't like extremist Democratic policies and was trying. She came out over the weekend and said she was actually for some late-term abortion limits, which is not going to earn her any brownie points with the abortion law, because if you're not for abortion up till the moment of birth and chucking babies, as they say, or killing babies after they've been born accidentally during abortion, you're not really part of their group or their club. Well, this weekend also, Biden said that he's a Catholic, so he's not big on abortion, but he thinks Roe got right. This is Biden once again double speaking. I mean, who knows? Who knows if he even knows what he's saying? But the intention behind this is trying to confuse voters into thinking that bad Grandpa Biden isn't really that extreme on abortion. His administration is the most extreme presidential administration ever in the history of America. But he wants to say he's not really big on abortion. He's just making it available to everyone, even including sex offenders and predators at CVS and Walgreens and Rite Aids near you. All right, so next video. Okay. Next article. The anti-abortion movement gets a dose of post-reality. So I was at the Lincoln Memorial on Saturday, National Celebrate for Life Day, and this reporter from The Nation came up to ask me questions. Sorry, that's my puppy who's playing with her. Rosie, stop. Rosie, stop. No more. Sorry, she's so cute. So anyway, this Nation reporter shows up at the Lincoln Memorial, and she's writing a story on the anti-abortion movement, which I'm totally fine being called anti-abortion, which I am, in the second year of post-Roe. And she had been at the National Right to Life conference, and then she came to ARVET. And she wrote about the differences between the two. And it was really quite sad. It was like the people she was talking at the National Right to Life convention, and I'm not going to call out names or whatever, but we're basically like saying we were losing, and then like we were there at the Lincoln Memorial saying we were winning. It's just really interesting. I don't understand the mentality in the pro-life movement for people who like listen to the polls of pro-abortion pundits and pro-abortion mainstream media as if they were gospel truth, which we prove every year at Dimitri Institute for Pro-Life Advancement that isn't true. Like, why would you listen to polls and make that seem like you're out of touch? Because I'm telling you what, I speak to students all the time on college campuses. I'm with the most liberal sect of our generation in our society, and it ain't that bad. But it was really interesting how she noted the comparison between some of the pro-life movement are very like down on the progress that we're making, and others like us at Students for Life and all those who gathered at the Lincoln Memorial who were excited. We were able to celebrate the 60,000 babies that will have birthdays this year because of Roe's reversal. And yes, there's obviously a lot of work to do, i.e. Maine, but we have come really far in 50 years, and we're excited for moving forward. My favorite part, though, of the article is Mary Ziegler. She's a pro-abortion historian. She's very fair and partial, though as partial as you can get for leaning, for killing babies. But I've had a lot of conversations with her. Mary actually talks. They interview Mary, and it was a really interesting quote. She said, "If the people in the anti-abortion movement are saying it took us 50 years to get rid of Roe, and we're willing to spend the next 50 years on personhood, then you can never say never," which was, I like that. That's right. Mary gets it. We're not going to go away. We're not just simply going to shrivel up and say, "Oh no, a bad poll came out," or "we faced this setback in this day or this state." Absolutely not. We're the pro-life generation. We know what we were called to do, and we were born to do, and damn it, we're gonna do it. So have no fear. Don't be a negative Nancy on this. All right. Let's see here. Drag queens chanting, "We're coming for your kids." So this is interesting. There was a bunch of drag queen and pride marches this weekend. It was the last weekend of Pride Month. Thank God. And so in New York City, they started chanting, "We're coming for your kids." I have a feeling it was probably just to be scary and just because that's, I don't know, I don't think everybody who goes to a pride march really wants to actually come after our kids, but honestly it hits way too close to home when you think about drag queen story. I saw a story today about some library associations putting out guidelines for how to stop Christians from entering the library when drag queens are there with their story hour. It hit too close to home. I think so. I think sometimes when they try to be ironic, it's but you kind of are coming for your kids, especially when it comes to, wrong sex hormones at Planned Parenthood that sterilize our children. You're absolutely coming for your kids. Or you think about the videos that come out online that are being pushed from everyone. Those are coming for our kids. Normalization of what we've been seeing, of children being told that oh, you might have same-sex attraction, you're probably a person stuck in your wrong body. I mean, once again, I've been doing this, save the lesbians. There's not gonna be any lesbians pretty soon if the transgender lobby has its way. I was excited to see, obviously Vice President Mike Pence had a ton of great content this past weekend. He had a wonderful interview in Politico, really challenging the rest of the GOP contenders to step up and lead on abortion. Ron DeSantis did step up. He answered that call, talked about what he did in Florida, signing the Heartbeat Prevention Act, which prevents abortions about 6 weeks. I was excited to see that he tweeted out, and I wanted to echo that because that was really exciting. Let's see, abortion rights are trans rights. I mean, this is just more of what we've seen this whole month, of being told that men can be pregnant, men can have abortion. It's really quite interesting. I mean, the question I have, and I can't stop asking, is what happened to the feminist movement. The feminist movement is nowhere to be seen. Has anyone ever heard of From Now this year, or the Feminist Majority Network this year? Where did they go saying that we're here, we're woman, we're proud? Where is that? I don't see that anywhere. It's absolutely crazy. Now it's all about trans rights or human rights, and men can have babies too, which you would think even the feminists, the hardcore pro-abortion feminists, would say, we have there's something wrong with this statement. I don't know. It was just very interesting. All right, I'm looking on my Twitter to see what else that I missed. Oh, I think I missed about the Ron DeSantis story. I forgot to tell you is I actually had a personal one-on-one meeting with Ron DeSantis this past week on Friday. So first time I personally got to meet him. I've met obviously Vice President Pence multiple times and multiple personal conversations with him. Wonderful human being, of course. But I was really impressed by my meeting with Ron DeSantis, how much he knew about the abortion issue. I was actually revealing some stats to him, and he's like, well, actually, I think you said 15-week abortion prevention act stop 5% abortions. I think actually stops less. And I was like, you're right, sir. You're absolutely right. So I love it that he is so up on his stats. And we had a great conversation about supporting, laws that will prevent abortions when children have detectable heartbeats. That's a very common sense consensus thing. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention that I missed because I've been gone for 2 days on Twitter, Planned Parenthood actually had the audacity to tweet this. Roe versus Wade was just a floor of what abortion access should be. We always need more. You wanted more than 63 million dead children? I mean, like, who is writing these tweets for Planned Parenthood? I don't get it. It was pretty unbelievable. And speaking of like things that you can't forget, and you're like, what the hell is another person thinking? Check out my Instagram account and Kristen Mercer Hawkins. We've started putting some clips up about my appearance on the Whatever podcast last week. Live Action has some clips as well, because Lila was sitting next to me, the founder of Live Action. Watch if you want to see Kristen. Like, everyone's always like, Kristen, you're so calm, and like you like suffer these fools so well. If you know me, like Kristen doesn't suffer fools well. And you can totally see that on the Whatever podcast, because I just have no patience for blue-haired children who live in parents' basements and have open relationships and have said some terrible things. So if you want to see me lose my stuff, watch the Whatever podcast. But honestly, don't probably watch the full 4 hours, because it was not moderated at all. And so, like, I would ask a question, and like 35 minutes later, I might get an answer. And it was like, and then I would tune out because he wouldn't even talk to me, this person I was debating. So you'll see me like on my phone, just getting bored with the same conversation for 4 hours straight. Um, but wait for the clips. Check out the clips on Students for Life or my Kristen Hawkins Instagram, or Live Actions Instagram. The clips they do all the work of trying to show like the valid points in between the crazy things that happen. But turns out I'm the anti-abortion villain. Who knew? Who knew? But all right, that's all the news for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.